Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans, it is Joe in the pilot seat. And I just noticed if you're watching us on YouTube, my name keeps coming up as Nick Sheshky, and that's because Nick is the one with the YouTube and the Zoom account. So if you see that, that's actually Joe on YouTube. Anyway, welcome to chapter 160. I love giving the behind the scenes stuff. The 160th episode of Rule of the Galaxy. We've got some of our regular co-hosts with us tonight. We've got some special guests who we were lucky enough to meet at the ICCC or the ICC Con in Nashville, Tennessee. Our friends at Hyperspace Heroes Podcast are going to be with us tonight. We'll go around the room. We'll have some fun. But as always, you can follow us at Rule of the Galaxy SW on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow us at Rule of the Galaxy Podcast on TikTok. Just Rule of the Galaxy on Facebook and YouTube. And last but not least, if you want something very cool with the Rule of the Galaxy logo on it, go to Etsy.com, type in Rule of the Galaxy, all one word, all caps. You'll find our stuff there. Miss Laura Burton will take care of you and let you buy a shirt or a hat or a sweatshirt or whatever you may want. So that's it for the opening spiel. Welcome to chapter 160. I'll go around the room to some of our regular co-hosts. I'm going to start with my good friend and cousin, Alfie Molinaro. Alfie, how you doing?
Doing good, Joe. You know, it's always crazy here at the other Molinaro household. So just hoping this peace and quiet lasts for a little bit and we can get through this.
You just ruined it.
Yep.
I know.
You jinxed it. Azalea will be on your lap in just a moment.
I can hear her on the other side of the door.
Is she clawing? My dogs do that. They claw at the door. Not to say your daughter's a dog. I'm just saying she wants to get to you. Yeah. So, well, I'm glad you're here. And have you bought anything new or good in the last week or two, Alfie?
Let's see. The last few weeks have been pretty good. Found some good Black Series figures. Obi-Wan, Dengar. Did manage to snag that vintage collection Obi-Wan and the retro. So I was happy about that. Our Target is pretty stocked right now, so it's hard not to stop there every day. Keep looking.
That's awesome. You keep going, brother. You keep that Target going while I'm saving back for my Italy trip. And I'll live vicariously through you. One thing you and I will not be getting is the 6-inch Black Series Captain Rex, as we all know.
That one hurts.
It hurts a little bit. It hurts a little bit. So, but you know, with sorrow, we can have joy as well. We can sit and laugh about it, I guess. Going on to Mr. Brent Dykman. Brent, how are you? And how's your Legion love going right now?
Legion is getting there. I mean, I haven't been able to play because of just different issues, so I haven't had a lot of time. But the games that I have played, I enjoy. I will give a shout out to the Garrison Talks, which is an offshoot since I'm part of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. So the Garrison Talks is a podcast that can be found on Spotify. And I want to say that maybe Podbean, I don't know, but we're trying to expand into other ones that are kind of free to launch out. So it is a group of guys in our local area, our local play group that are just talking about Legion specifically. The big thing was Gen Con. Gen Con, for those that don't know, is a big board game convention. We're talking Dungeons and Dragons have booths. We're talking Games Workshop, which has a bunch of different games, Lord of the Rings, Warhammers. I can name a few other games, but if you're into the tabletop gaming, that's the place to go. And there was a Legion tournament, and one of the guys in our local play group placed second in that tournament. So he, out of maybe 60 players, and it was a pretty national draw type tournament too. So he's pretty stoked because he earned a chance to play in the Worlds. So that's coming up in maybe in March in Chicago at Adepticon. But anyway, so that's Legion. That's where it's at. So if you guys you heard our Legion podcast and you want to check it out, which is really cool because somebody interacted with us on Twitter and took a picture. They went to a local game store and took a picture of all the Legion figures. So shout out to the listener up there. I believe he's in the Pacific Northwest. Forgive me, your name is eluding me at the moment. But yeah, if you ever come to Indiana, I'd love to play a game.
There you go. Well, I tell you what, we've got some guests here this evening. We were lucky enough to meet these gentlemen at the ICCC in Nashville. and I've been listening to their show, the Hyperspace Heroes Podcast, and I can tell you, I kind of dig the nice, relaxing music in the background, the chill atmosphere. It makes me want to go have a glass of wine, and just nibble on some snacks at the table. But the Hyperspace Heroes Podcast is with us. I'm going to start with the Brown leader, Aaron. Aaron, how are you?
Good. Thank you. We're doing good, and we appreciate the invitation onto the show. And as you said, we met at Triple C. And Brent, I want to mention I've got a buddy that runs a tabletop gaming company called Fight in the Box.
Okay.
And I know the guy that runs it is named Seppi. And if you've ever met him, you'll know him and you'll remember him. He's quite the character. But they don't do anything quite like Legion. They've been creating their own games, and they've got quite a small inventory. But it's kind of a little wacky out there stuff. But as long as and they go to Adepticon too, I think. So just wanted to give them a little plug. But yeah, called Fight in the Box. We're old high school buddies.
You got it. Is that Seppi for Giuseppe, or is
nope,
it just...
Nope, just Seppi. Seppi Yoon is actually his name.
Okay.
And but yeah, I wanted to give them a quick plug.
There's nothing wrong with that. Plug away at anything you guys want to here tonight. Real quick, I will have to ask you. I probably missed this in one of the shows. How did you get the title Brown Leader?
So it was kind of by default. I was the one that kind of hatched the idea for the podcast.
Okay.
All three of us work at the same place, and we work in different departments, but we do work together. But oftentimes our bosses frown a little bit too often if we're huddled in the corner too much talking Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So I hatched the podcast as an idea for an excuse to go down into our, as we call it, our wives' basements once a week and get a chance to talk Star Wars and just kind of nerd out with it. And we were coming up. So originally we were called the Alderaan A-holes, and our theme, our niche was we're kind of the Lost Squadron from Alderaan, which obviously no longer exists, and we're just kind of roaming the galaxy, going from nightclub to nightclub, talking Star Wars.
Okay,
that's kind of the motif, and we came up with call signs for the guys. And originally I was going to call myself the Senate because I'm just a little bit of I'm the organizer, but I'm also a little twisted and I hide it really well. But the guys just started calling me Brown Leader in the episodes, and it just kind of stuck.
Okay. All right. So Eric is Brown 4. I know we got Scruffy. Scruffy, do you have is it Brown 2?
Brown 2, yep.
Okay. Well, we're going to go in numerical order because it's easier for me to go that way. I have a childlike mind, so order is good.
Hey, same here.
So John, by Scruffy or Brown 2, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for having us, man.
No worries.
Greatly appreciate it. Good to be here.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Brown Leader mentioned that they're in their wife's basement, but
yes.
Scruffy doesn't look like he's in his wife's basement, because if you're watching on YouTube, that man has a ginormous collection behind him, and my wife would not allow that if it was considered to be her basement. So,
it is. I am in the basement. Yes. The basement was supposed to be, the man cave was in the basement. And while my wife is not a huge Star Wars fan, she is very supportive of the hobby. A lot of the stuff you see behind me is mostly her telling me you got to get it. You got to buy that. Okay, I'll buy it.
Thanks. Okay.
Absolutely.
No, it is a nice looking collection. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And our winner tonight, the one who showed up first, who was most prompt, and I hear he's the most prompt all the time, is Eric Brown 4.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm Brown 4, because I'm always last. So the fact that I landed first tonight was pretty amazing. So
and Eric, so Droid Bait is a nickname. Where does that come from?
Apparently I'm the worst pilot in the squadron, so I get to take point. So
okay, I like it. So thank you guys for being here. And again, we were just having some fun. We just figured we'd talk for a little bit, get to know each other a little bit better, because while we were all there at ICCC, man, there was a lot going on. We were going all different directions. So where are you guys based out of? Where is home for Hyperspace Heroes Podcast?
A little place in northern Michigan called Traverse City.
Okay, I know where that is. Good.
Oh,
good.
awesome.
Yeah. And now, you've probably been introduced to Adam Bray, right? You've talked to Adam Bray. Have you interacted with Adam? He's up in northern Michigan.
Right. We have not talked to him yet. I did send him a message about a week and a half ago just to see if he wanted to come on the show. I haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
But yeah, we have reached out to him. Follow him on Twitter. Have interacted a couple times.
I'll shoot him a message and just say, hey, these guys are good guys. Go be on their show, because he's been a regular on our show, and he's a really good guy. And we were trying to figure out a way to get him to the ICCC with us. It just didn't work out timing wise and everything like that with him. So, I sent you guys some quick messages just saying, hey, what are some things you like about Star Wars? What are some things you don't like, or the things that, make the hair on the back of your neck, go up? And you loaded me up with all kinds of things. I mean, I saw things random from, just behind the scenes stuff, Kaz on Resistance, to Star Trek TV shows, to the holiday special. One thing that I did see that's not Star Wars, though, you guys all mentioned that you really like Battlestar Galactica.
Yes,
absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, have you? And let's see here real quick. I'm sorry, Aaron. You mentioned that you like Star Wars behind the scenes stuff. I think it was on the Vice Icons on Earth. Have you guys watched those documentaries yet?
Mm-mm.
No.
I've been watching the Star Wars one. Yeah, I taped them all the other day, and I've been watching them.
So I was watching that, and you were talking. You mentioned behind the scenes stuff. One of the things I saw in there was that Industrial Light and Magic was doing work basically, and the gentleman from Industrial Light and Magic was doing work for Glenn Larson, who did the Battlestar Galactica show, and they had side by side episodes of Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica, same exact shot, same exact everything. It just blew me away. And as a kid, when I couldn't have Star Wars, I wanted to watch that because it was the closest thing I had to it, right? But it was on TV, and I think I was drawn in because now looking at that, the poetry, the symbolism, the duplication was just huge. So I mean, Eric, you mentioned you watched it. I would recommend that one. I just finished up with that one. I'm getting ready to start the Light and Magic one. Have any of you watched the Light and Magic on Disney Plus yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm 2 episodes into it. It's really awesome.
Okay, Brent, have you watched either of those?
Yeah, so I've seen. I'm not a huge Battlestar Galactica because I wasn't alive at that time when it was out. I just wanted to make you guys feel old. That's all. I'm not a young pup here. Like I'm not a Nick Shesky or no, I was never really into. There was one that I can't remember. I think it was called V. They did a re-release of it, but there was that was one that got me as far as sci-fi things other than Star Wars. Obviously, I'm a next generation. I saw some Star Trek stuff. I'm a next generation guy. But yeah, the Industrial Light and Magic was a fantastic 6-part series. Some of that stuff I'd seen before, but maybe not in that way. I've seen the stuff about the one that really always gets me is when they start doing the Abyss, and they show how they were basically the leaders in that computer graphics. And then the other one that also just boggles my mind is that George Lucas had the foresight to create Pixar as a property to sell. He never wanted to keep that, but he knew that this is where we're going. I need to do something and I can sell it off. And it became what it has become, which is now, I mean, it got bought back up by Disney, but still at the same time, Pixar is fantastic in all those movies, but all of that came from playing around with ILM.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree with you, Aaron, on the behind the scenes stuff. And we've talked about this on a previous show. The behind the scenes stuff, I think, is one of the things that attracts me so much to Star Wars. Is we've got the books, we've got the movies, we've got the toys, we've got all these different things going on, video games, so on and so forth. But to be able to really dig into the meat of how it was created,
Mhm.
what it took, all the risks you had to take. I said it, gosh, just a few episodes ago because we were talking about this, was George Lucas really, I mean, for we all have faults, but for all George's faults, to think of all the challenges he had in front of him, in today's society, to look and say, all these people are telling me no, it's never going to happen. And yet you see all those things he did, and then it still came through. It just blew me away. And it kind of got me reinvigorated to think, what do I want to do? What's the next thing I want to do? Because if we can see all these things that should never have happened happen, and he goes and makes $4 billion off Disney, there's something out there for each of us that we can do.
Well,
Go ahead,
he
Brent.
was wanting to make the volume in 92 or something like that. Like, he wanted to make the volume and the technology in the volume because he saw that it could get there before it was even there, and before they even had the computer graphics. Like, the dude was like way ahead of his time when it comes to special effects, right? He may not be able to write the best screenplays, and I think we can understand that, but the dude is a visionary when it comes to, and just changing the way that movies are made, from just his mind. Like, this is where it's going to go, and I got to start pushing people to get there. And it's like, just do it, just come up with it, like, figure it out, and pushing people to be that creative to figure it out.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Joe, I think when you get into Light and Magic, you're really going to enjoy that. You're talking about Dykstra, who kind of got left behind by ILM, and after episode 4, a lot of the people that the founders of ILM went on to do other projects because they needed to feed their families, and Lucas was cool with it while he was writing the script for Empire. And the innovation of technology all started with the Dykstraflex, and the motion control camera. I mean, if they had not done that, and they do a really good comparison between 2001, Kubrick's 2001, which came out in 68, I think. And, it was a beautiful film. The cinematography is just absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to the space flight, everything is just slow. And, until I saw that in Light and Magic, I kind of knew it, but I didn't know it in a way, and when they pointed that out, it was kind of like, oh yeah. And, Lucas really wanted to break the mold. So they had to invent the technology to make the vision of what he wanted. And they, and it led to everything, the Abyss, it led to the Terminator movies, it led to, Jurassic Park, Jar Jar led to Avatar. It's just, and when you're the first, you're going to have some things that maybe don't land so well, but somebody has to be the first. And he was definitely the guy to get things going. He even went to where was it? University of Utah, where he went to get the kind of the first
programmers.
The first programmers, right, to actually get going on computer graphics before Empire was even done.
Well, one of the guys is he wasn't the programmer. His brother was the one that wrote Adobe Photoshop, but he basically they created Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah, that was John Knoll.
Right. He created, it was like he saw what his brother was doing, and he just kind of kept nudging him, and like, you can write this, but so it was kind of his idea to plant it in his brother's mind. But they're the ones that created Photoshop. And now that, can you imagine, Photoshop is now a verb.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? It's not it's so common that, I'm going to Photoshop that. I can Photoshop that.
Yep.
And now we can do it on our phones, right? Go ahead, Alfie.
Yeah, I think that was one of the more interesting parts of the series to me. Was we're always going to be enamored, and amazed by the behind the scenes of Star Wars making it. But the little stories of, hey, we were working on this and we created digital editing equipment. And we were working on this and we created digital audio equipment. And we made this camera and we made this lens and we made, the servers for episode 1 and the Photoshop, the Pixar machine, all these little things that became really big things that were just kind of side projects for ILM.
And it started with 12, 15 people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
About
then
that.
grew to like thousands.
in an
Mhm.
industrial park. Yeah. Hence Industrial Light and Magic. Yeah.
Mhm.
So guys, give me a little background on Hyperspace Heroes. I know you work together. You want to go have this Star Wars talk where your bosses were not giving you the evil eye, the stink eye. How long have you been going, and how many episodes in are you? And just give us a little rundown of what you do there at Hyperspace Heroes.
So we started a little over a year ago. I think we dropped our first episode in early June of 2021. And we did 25 episodes under the original name. Episode
Alderaan
25.
A-holes, right?
Yep. And episode 25 was our first venture into having guests. We hadn't had guests up to that point. We were still kind of getting our, finding our mojo, so to speak, finding our groove, how we wanted to be. And plus, I've been teaching myself the technology with the help of my son and his best friend, who have been running their own podcast for a few years. So, old man learning new tricks, it takes a little while. And so around Christmas, we did episode 25, then we took a break for the holidays and kind of revamped one of my other son's former high school mates. She had gone to graphic arts school, so we hired her to start doing a logo. We figured we'd start taking it up a step. Started coming up with a new name. She was the one that actually pointed out that Alderaan is trademarked, so we may kind of want to move away from that. And we were like, all right, I don't have enough money to go up against Lucasfilm lawyers, so I think we'll do something. And then we rebranded under Hyperspace Heroes, and under that one, we just recorded episode, what was it? We just recorded episode 19 on Tuesday. So overall, what would that be? I know Rural Farm Boy always tracks it by total count and for us. But so 44 total episodes so far.
So a couple different things. One, 100% understand. And I don't think, look, what we're doing here is not rocket science, right? We're talking, we're recording, and we're posting these. But I've talked to the Duchess, Jessica, talking to you here on this. I feel like, a lot of people just think, okay, you just record and you press play and then boom, you ship it out and everything's good. I crack up when people are like, you got to take what? You got to edit this. You've got to do that. You got to put music. There's a lot that goes into it. And I never really thought about that. And you're exactly right. Between my son and my younger brother, all this is coming together. And Brent and Alfie will be the first ones to tell you, we were 25, 30 episodes in before internet worked well, speakers worked right.
Those were amazing episodes. If you went back and listened to them, they were atrocious.
Yeah, we were a train wreck. I mean, honestly, we were a train wreck, but we were having fun. And again, Brent always says it's an escape from reality. It's escape from your day-to-day stuff. And we don't all work together, so we don't have the same boss looking at us. But we just said, let's keep having fun with this. And you're right, it does take some time with a podcast. You have to find that niche. You have to find listeners, and so I'm glad you guys are doing that. But I also, you gave a shout out, and I'll follow it up. Rural Farm Boy. I mean, if there's a person out there who just pumps up people on their podcast, that guy right there, he's great. He gives everybody shout outs. He retweets everything. Honestly, we record a show once a week. I don't know how he listens to all the shows he listens to on a weekly basis. So
he listens like 100 shows.
I know. Yeah.
At least that's what it sounds like. He listens like 4 a day.
And he listens because he'll often throw in a little bit of tidbit, something about the episode. And it's, he says he'll usually start to tweet when he's about 20 minutes out from the end of the episode or something. I think he once wrote or something. But yeah, that's why we wanted to have him as our first guest, of all of, of having any guests. We figured, why not? I try to do the same thing. I run our social, and I try to do the same thing. And it's all about spreading the love. it's a big enough space. We're not in competition with anybody. We're just doing this like you guys are for fun. Yep. That's what it comes down to. So we're just having fun. If we have listeners, great. If we don't, we're having fun just talking and networking, getting to meet guys like you, getting to meet different guests. We just our episode that I'll be dropping next week was with somebody you just recently interviewed, which was Chris Kempshell.
Oh,
and and it was all because you guys had posted who was upcoming. He gave us a follow. I reached out to him, and and we started there, and just that networking and that ICCC, meeting everybody we met there, and it's it's really just been for the fun of it. And
agreed.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome. And so I'm gonna just bounce some topics out there. I'm going to throw some things out there. We'll do around the horn and let you guys just kind of, with us having 6 people in here, I'm going to give everybody a chance to breathe a little bit, because if not, I'll suck up all the oxygen. So Brent knows that. So let's go around. Hey, I just saw that Ewan McGregor did an interview, and he gave his love to Liam, said he looks up to Liam Neeson and all that, but he did come out and say that originally Obi-Wan was not going to be about him and Leia. It was going to be a story of him and Luke on Tatooine, kind of grinding through all that and preparing you for episode 4. I'll just start around the horn. Eric, what are your thoughts on that they can make that kind of a change to it? Are you wanting that if they do a Obi-Wan Kenobi part 2?
Oh, I have mixed feelings, because I absolutely loved Obi-Wan. And they did throw the red herring at us, with teasing us with Luke in the trailer and everything. And I thought it was a fantastic series. I thought it told a story. I don't think it interfered with what we already had in place. And while I would love to see more Obi-Wan, I mean, Ewan McGregor's fantastic. It's his role. Sometimes you don't need to milk that. I think they could push it too far if they go with another season.
Okay. Scruffy, how about you?
I was really glad to hear it was not about Luke. He's a moisture farmer. What more could you possibly tell, man? He goes outside, looks around, sand. Need more moisture.
Breaks the parts on the speeder.
It gets everywhere.
Breaks parts on the speeder. Yeah, so I was really glad to see it was something different, something that I didn't expect. Okay. I personally would love to see another season. I absolutely loved Obi-Wan. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, because it wasn't focused on Luke.
Okay.
It gave us a different story, a different background, a different something we hadn't seen or heard before. So I really appreciated it.
Gotcha. How about you, Aaron?
I'm glad they went with the Leia storyline instead, as repetitive as it was. Capture, rescue finale. As we talked about it on a recent episode where we kind of ranked the three live action streaming shows. How would we rank them? And for me, Obi-Wan came in 3rd. Not because it's bad. I mean, it's good. It's fun. I enjoyed it. But honestly, it wasn't really breaking any new molds as Mando did. And even Book of Boba somewhat, because it's all new stories in a different timeline. And I'm a big proponent of ambiguity in storytelling. I don't mind having blank spots where you kind of just sit and wonder. We're all old enough to remember before the prequels, we didn't have anything other than the films and the expanded universe. Mm-hmm. So what did we have? We had our imagination. We had, the fandom. It was all about what we'd like to see, and we just kind of, that's where a lot of the enthusiasm was, the energy in the fandom at the time. And I think if you answer too many questions, it kind of gets boring.
I can't remember who it said, whether it was Alfie or Brent, or maybe somebody else on our show. Sometimes the story doesn't need to be told, mm-hmm. right? Sometimes it's good to just let things go. Okay, that was a story, and we can fill in, like you said, in the imagination ourselves. Alfie, your thoughts on the not going the Luke direction, but going the Leia direction with Obi-Wan?
Okay, let me just start off by saying I did enjoy the Obi-Wan series. Okay. But I think
But
any reliance on Luke as a focus in the series, and probably why they didn't do it and went with the Leia route, is that I would imagine much of the plot was borrowed from comic books in the EU, previous stories of Obi-Wan and Luke, and would be way too obvious that, hey, we're just ripping, we don't really have any ideas. We just went with something that had already been done. And, for the most part, a lot of Kenobi was that way, even with the Leia story. The Tatooine episodes were straight from the Kenobi book. The interactions between Owen and Obi-Wan were straight from the comic books. Most of the Inquisitor stuff was pretty similar to the Fallen Order game, which I thought was really odd because that game isn't that old, and it's basically the level of the game. You swim into the castle and you rescue somebody, and then it ends with fighting Vader, but instead you fight an Inquisitor. So I really feel like, and I talked to the episode with Duchess, we talked about this season. If you wanted to do a second season of Obi-Wan, it should have been this should have been the second season. The first season should have been more of the reclusive Obi-Wan reflecting on, the PTSD of the Clone Wars, trying to find his way in a smaller, like Tatooine story. But now that he's gone off planet, you can't really go back to a story like that. You're going to have to, where are you going to go? You can't leave Tatooine again. So are you going to rip off like the Jawa Tusken Raider War, or something like that? I don't know.
Okay. Brent?
I am so glad that they got off of Tatooine. We had 4 episodes. Well, no, it was four because 2 of them were Mando and they were off of Tatooine. But you had 4 episodes of Boba Fett on Tatooine. I was fearing that you would have 6 episodes on Tatooine, and we have nothing but desert planets. It feels like in the Star Wars universe, they keep going back to the desert planets. There's more biomes. There's 9 biomes in the world. My biology teacher's coming out in me. There's 9 biomes in the world, but yet the bulk of Star Wars takes place in a desert biome.
It's the cheapest background.
All the major characters come from the desert planet.
I mean, you don't have to really do anything with your scenery. I mean, you just shoot. I mean, the sand gets everywhere, but other than that,
I hate sand. It gets everywhere. No, I loved the biggest bright spot. I was just talking to one of my coworkers who started listening to the podcast and thought we were kind of talking. The biggest bright spot from that show, I think, was Leia. She was awesome. I think she was awesome partially because she was unexpected, but she was also good in that role. And most everybody that I talk to agrees with that. And then I guess the other condemnation that I've heard kind of comes with what Brown Leader was saying, which is I didn't need that conversation to happen between Obi-Wan and Vader Anakin at the very end of it, because I was okay with there being metaphorical and it's okay to leave things as a metaphor. That's the way it was for so many years in my life. You didn't have to I didn't need it to be spelled out for me that this is why, you didn't kill me. It's not your fault. He didn't need to say that. The condemnation was, you didn't need to say that. I believe that anyway, right? That was where I went. I was cool with the metaphor of all of that before he had to say it. So why do we have to have everything so spelled out and in the dialogue? So I can see where they're coming from on that. So I wanted to give that some airtime as well.
Because there's no original ideas anymore.
But you could again, you don't have to tell every story. You could have left that metaphor.
But I'm just saying, you worked on this series for 8 years, and the best you could come up with was, I don't know, maybe he fights Vader again. How do we make it work?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. They brought Hayden back. Ooh, that's gonna get people to watch. We bring Hayden back.
It got people to watch.
I like Hayden.
It was a smart move.
He was in it for what? 5 minutes? Max?
You're going down rabbit holes.
But it was a good 5 minutes.
All
I
right.
mean, their little battle, and that episode with the battle, and then the battle of them taking place was a very well put together episode. I enjoyed that with them in the training, the flashback scene, fantastic. But that was the bulk of Hayden, and then you saw him for about 30 seconds when the mask got cracked.
Okay, to hop off of this because we're gonna burn Obi-Wan up to death. Next, next we're going right into Star Wars Resistance. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey.
I liked Resistance.
All right, this is
Oh,
Brown Leader signing off.
what? Somebody, I heard somebody say they like
Brent.
Resistance.
This one right here, I'm a weird dude, okay? I'm going to say that. I liked Resistance, but I felt like, okay, they were doing well. I enjoyed it. And then it's like, okay, The Last Jedi came out, so we got to end it. And they just jumped ahead and they just went way too fast because I saw this as a vehicle to build into some of the storylines and do some of the in-between stuff that you have. But at the end of the first season is when the Starkiller base is blown up. And I feel like that should have been at like the end of season 2 or 3. You could have done a lot more to build up to that reaction. And I enjoyed it. I'm sorry, but I did enjoy it.
Well, okay.
Anyway.
You know, I definitely agree with you there. You can see where it's going along and sudden like, oh, we got to play catch up here real quick so we can bring this thing to an end. I'm sure you've heard it was painful. It was just painful to watch. Yeah, I still stand by my statement. I think Buggles was the most redeeming quality of the whole TV show right there. But yeah, but you know, like I've always said, you know, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean somebody else can't enjoy it.
Okay,
it is what it is.
So I jokingly was bringing that up just because of your recent episode, but I will say now that the conversation has started, I would agree with you on that they pushed through it and didn't give it a chance to breathe. And I think the whole thing came down to they had a plan based on what they thought the trilogy of movies was going to be. And when Rian Johnson's movie was coming out, they looked and said, this might not match what is getting ready to come out here. So we need to just nip this in the bud and move on to something else. I think if the 3 movies would have been more or less disjointed, they could have said, okay, guys, build this for episode or for season 2, build this for season 3, to where we get to the Rise of Skywalker at the same time that the movies get to that. So that's what I would say. My 2 cents on it. And if anybody else wants to hop in, you're more than welcome to. I just don't want to make it to where we have a half an hour battle on Resistance. But
well, one of the things, how I phrased it on our show was that it was very much emblematic of the sequel trilogy in the fact that it had a lot of potential and it just fell short. And I think somebody said it didn't have a chance to breathe. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it is, you know, look at Clone Wars. You know, Clone Wars, the first couple seasons were, you know, they were trying to do a kids show. But then they allowed it to breathe. They allowed it to grow. And DB has said it on our show where, you know, it could have been a good vessel to fill in and give more backstory and depth to the sequel trilogy, just as Clone Wars established for the prequels. And it just, but yeah, I think you guys are right. They kind of saw which way the winds were blowing and they just kind of thought, well, we better nip it in the bud. It had a lot of potential. There were things about it we enjoyed, but just like the sequel trilogy movies, it just kind of, they didn't really use their tools very well.
Well,
go ahead.
The
main reason why I like it is it comes back to the same thing that I have said hundreds of times on here. I want new. There was new with a connection
money,
to
you were going to say that. Go ahead.
What's that?
I said I could have bet money you were going to say that.
I mean, there were new characters, there were new stories, there was a new storyline, and then there was the connection back to certain other things that were going on. Like you had BB-8, right? I think BB-8 was probably one of the most likable characters from the sequel trilogy, right? So you bring BB-8 in to try to bring that connection piece back. But you had completely new people. I know the fan base wants the legacy and they want more stories with the legacy. I want more stories. I want new. Give me new. and Resistance was new, and it just, I feel like it, like you said, potential. I thought, okay, great. Like as we were getting close to the end, I was like, what? They blow up Starkiller at the end of season 1? What? That's why this thing's bad. You could have drawn that out, and you could have. Anyways, sorry.
And that's how we are.
I agree. I think we all wanted new. That's why one of the things I loved about Mandalorian so much. It was new. It was different. It was a backstory about characters I hadn't already seen or heard of before. I was a little bummed when they threw Boba Fett in, but they were able to work it in and not be.
Yeah.
Shout back. It was. I agree. New is definitely what I wanted the most.
Yeah, Resistance was a total missed opportunity for them to connect the original trilogy with the sequel trilogy. And they could have had a less irritating main character, because the secondary characters actually had some really interesting stories that they were starting to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So, it had potential.
But aren't all the main characters of Star Wars whiny and annoying?
Not to that extent.
I mean, Luke was a complete and utter whiner.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think of like Phantom Menace, and baby Anakin, young Anakin in Phantom Menace was nothing but a whiner. Who's the other?
He was 8 years old.
But there was another one that was in my head as I was talking about this. That's another main character that does nothing but whine. And then you have Finn, who's a main character that all he does is yell, "Ray!" Like, so I guess like it's a. Oh, I was Ahsoka. Ahsoka was annoying.
Yes.
Started.
Yes, she
right?
was.
So that was the one that just came to my mind. So there's a part of
a
Star Wars history where you have whiners, and if you give them time, they turn into something that you like.
But yeah, you're right. They all had growth one way or another. Kaz went from A to B and did not change. He was Shaggy. He just was missing Scooby-Doo.
Wow.
Ooh, that is a great statement. I love it.
Yes.
I think they relied too much on established characters too. I think if maybe they had, look at Mando did not have cameos in season 1. Mando was its own thing, and it established its own, it was new, and that's what we agree. We want new. And Alfie said it earlier too. Star Wars is best when it's unexpected, and it just, I think it was too much BB-8, too much Poe Dameron, too much, if they could have established these characters on their own, in the first season, and then start to sprinkle in some of the sequel trilogy characters, maybe that would have been better. And I still don't understand how Kaz got to be an ace pilot in the Republic Navy and still can't hit anything with a blaster. I mean, he went 2 seasons and couldn't shoot a thing.
Like he was a former stormtrooper or something.
Must have been, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll I threw Resistance out as a joke, and we got 20 minutes on it. So Star Wars Visions. I think Aaron, you are, was it Aaron who brought up the Ronin Funko Pop from there, right? What do you guys think? It looks that's coming out spring of 2023. I actually enjoyed Star Wars Visions. I think out of the 8 or 9 of them, there was one or two where I was like, but the others very enjoyable. I think this is good. We all have our own headcanon anyway. So what are you guys thinking about the Star Wars Visions season 2, I guess, coming in spring of 2023? Anything you're looking for or toward in that? And let's go with DB, Droid Bait, for this one.
I'm probably the worst person to start with because anime is not my thing. That's my kids' thing. I've never gotten into it nor enjoyed it, but I did watch it, and there were episodes I really enjoyed. The Ronin was one, and I think it was the last episode. I can't remember with the title.
Nine Jedi or something.
Yeah, where the Jedi all came together, and it was kind of a new beginning. I really enjoyed those, both stylistically and story. But then there's things like Astro Boy, and that's where I'll leave it.
Alfie, how about you? Star Wars Visions, the second session.
Visions, much like a lot of the Disney Plus outside of Mando, I enjoyed, but to me, it just wasn't very memorable. I've tried watching it a few times. It was enjoyable the first time. There wasn't a whole lot there to go back to other than like the Ronin and I think the Ninth Jedi episode. It's kind of take it or leave it for me. I'll always be excited for more Star Wars. New stories. I like kind of the legends aspect of it, but we'll see what happens.
Scruffy, how about you?
I'm with DV. Anime has never been my thing. I think the only anime I ever enjoyed watching was Battle of the Planets from 1978.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers that. But beyond that, anime was never my thing. I did enjoy the Ronin. I also enjoyed the Ninth Jedi. I can't remember, was it called The Twins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that one. And Astro Boy, that did it.
Okay.
Oh, what was the
You're thinking of Lop and Ocho?
Oh, yes, another rabbit. The Star Wars did not have room for another rabbit.
Come on, Jackson rocks.
DB. I don't know where DB went, but he would love to hear you say that right now.
Yeah, Jackson, I can hear you.
No, of course he can hear that.
Brent, how about you?
Of course he hears that.
With Vision season 2.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was trying to take care of my son for a few minutes.
You should.
I'm different than most. My favorite was actually the rock concert to Tatooine Rhapsody.
Yes.
It was childish and I enjoyed it and it was fun. So I like that one. Some of the other ones, like I really wanted to like the one that was like the master and apprentice that went to fight the old Sith, but it put me to sleep in 10 minutes. So yeah, like there's a few of them that just like were like I felt like they drowned it on, and they were only like 10 to 12 minutes, but it felt like it took forever to get through them. I'll watch them, but there's none that I'm like anticipating.
So I mean, so far going through the group, nobody's like going, "Hey, I rewatch Visions all the time." That's not the consensus right now. I'm going to guess, Aaron, same with you, or are you?
I loved Visions. I mean, with the exception of the twins and what was it, to be a real boy episode, to be whatever his name was, the Astro Boy Pinocchio. I grew up on some anime. I've got have appreciate it, and for me, a lot of it my enjoyment came from the fact that these are Japanese directors, and being a behind the scenes guy and knowing that Lucas drew a lot of inspiration from Kurosawa and his samurai films, Hidden Fortress, Seven Samurai, stuff like that. That's really fueled a lot of excitement for me, just seeing new Japanese perspective on the Star Wars universe, since they were kind of the original inspiration for Lucas. That gave me kind of a deeper level. Love the Ronin. That was my favorite. Read the novel that came out after it, which was a continuation of the story. It actually covers that whole episode and then moves forward from there. Gives a lot more depth to the character. Very different style of storytelling too by that author, but enjoyed it overall. I look forward to season 2. I'm excited. I think I read somewhere too that they're going to go beyond just Japanese and anime as well. They're going to bring in some animation from other continents as well for season 2.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Brent always has our favorite question that we ask everybody. I think you guys know what's coming, and I actually sent it to you, so I have your answers right here in front of me already. But because of our newfound love for Count Dooku that we didn't really have 2.5 years ago, the joke was, who's going to buy Count Dooku's lightsaber hilt at Galaxy's Edge? Because it was me who said that, because I was like, why would I want to do that? Nobody's buying that. Well, since then we've all kind of found that there's a lot more depth to Count Dooku than what we thought 2.5 years ago, especially with books and audiobooks and things like that, with him roped into it. So it became the question that we ask everybody: what is your favorite Star Wars hilt? So not the lightsaber, not the color, but the hilt. And DB, I'll go with you. Yours was Vader slash Anakin. What do you love about that hilt for that lightsaber?
It's just a classic style. It's symmetrical. It was the first lightsaber you saw, so I think that's why it's embedded in my head.
Okay, it's a good enough answer. Aaron, how about you? You gave me two answers, but I'll let you go with both of them if you want.
So yeah, so I really have fallen in love with Ahsoka's new white lightsaber hilts. Love the styling on them, the very subtle curve, and again, kind of goes back to the Japanese styling. It almost looks like it could be a katana handle, honestly. It's just kind of missing the Suba, the little cross guard on there, and they look elegant. They look yeah, I mean, they're pieces of art. And then the other one is Luke's from Return of the Jedi. I was 9 years old when Return of the Jedi came out. Perfect age. He has a new lightsaber. It's a different color than we'd seen before, in green, and it just, it's that kid in me that just fell in love with it when I saw it on screen at 9 years of age.
Okay, good. Scruffy, how about you? You've got two. I'll let that slide as well. Hit me with your two.
Well, Darth Vader, of course. I was 6 when Empire or Star Wars: A New Hope came out, and of course, same thing with DB. That was the first thing I saw, the first lightsaber, and it was a very different weapon than you would see. It just has a very nostalgic feel to me. So of course that's always going to be my number one. But the other one was Mace Windu. It was just an awesome looking lightsaber. I don't know what else to say about it. I would call it what he would call it, but probably got to censor ourselves on the show.
We try. Mass isn't on the show very much anymore, and he wouldn't censor himself. Mass would have just dropped whatever you wanted to say about it. Alfie, I forget. Which one is your favorite lightsaber hilt?
Luke's from Return of the Jedi.
Luke's from Return of the Jedi. Okay, Brent.
So
Dooku's?
I like the ones that match personalities, and I think that's why I like Dooku's the best, because it's got the curve. It allows him to have that one-handed fencing style that's kind of a regal. So that's why I say that. Another one that I really like that I think matches the personality would be Ezra Bridger from the first episode when he made his first one, the first couple seasons, with the gun that it turns into a lightsaber. So it's got the stun gun, whatever it's called, I can't think of the name of it. But so that one, I think, just knowing him and watching him up to that point, that hilt makes sense for him. Like that's who he was. Like that made sense. And then the other one that I would say that I feel like matches who the person is would be the ending lightsaber Rey has, the one that Alfie would like to have purchased, to be able to purchase, but they don't release it. But
that's why it's not on my list.
I mean, right, but like I think it one, I'm intrigued because of the gold. Two, if you look at the hilt itself, it just has that scrapper vibe, which is what she started off being. There's just something about that just matches Rey, and I think it's perfect for her and the character that they created in those movies. So those are the ones that I like. So anything that has, and then I was talking to the Legion guys, and somebody brought up Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren, his with the sprayed out, the cross guard, and so he's like, yeah, it's aggressive, but that's what he is. He's aggressive. Yes, it's like an angry saber. That's who he is. Like, it matches the character of Kylo Ren. So those are the ones that I kind of hope people start talking about, but not everybody brings those up, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of people go to the classics, but like I think I like the ones that are like that match people's character personalities and character traits.
Okay, I like that answer. Okay, that's a great answer. I asked you guys about your favorite Star Wars characters. Again, they can be from books, they can be from movies, from the animated series, they can be from the new live action. Give me your top 3 Star Wars characters. We'll go back to DB. Give me your top 3.
Oh, I got to think of 3.
You what? You gave me 1, 2, 3. You gave me 5. So knock it down to 3. Yes. You want me to read through them? You gave me Luke, R2, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Garsa Fwip, and I don't know this one. I probably should know this one.
Mermia.
Where is that one from? How did I miss this one?
2 words. Diane Carroll.
Oh my gosh! From the holidays.
I appreciate female beauty. That's all I can say.
Okay. All right. Out of that list of 5, give me your 3.
Luke, R2, and Obi-Wan. Easy. I mean, I was 7 years old when A New Hope came out, and Luke was my hero. That was it. And at that age, I didn't understand the politics. I didn't understand what was going on. There were spaceships and robots. That's what made me happy. And man, I was about the size of R2D2, so, and he seemed like a little smart aleck. So, and he was also the very first action figure I ever had, and still have, with a very faded sticker, by the way. So, and and I kind of wrote off Obi-Wan originally because they killed him off, whatever, he's the old man. But man, did Ewan McGregor really take grasp of that character and flesh him out. And then the Clone Wars just made him a legend. So
nope, I like it. That's a good 3 right there, in my opinion. Aaron, how about you? I've got your list as well.
I know. And I'm trying to think 3. I mean, that's just, each era kind of has its own, feel, and that to limit it to 3, I'm going to discount the OT right now. I'm going to push that to the side because that's childhood love. That's the original. And those are the easy answers.
You're saying I'm easy.
Yeah. Well,
so you're droid bait.
You droid bait. I think right now, I really truly appreciate. I appreciate the OT characters because they were the foundation. They built everything. Everything was formed upon that. But with the modern era of storytelling, since just before the Disney purchase and since the Disney purchase, I truly appreciate Ahsoka and Rex, because of how their story arcs, over those 7 seasons, and then Mando, just because, again, it's new, it's different, it's fresh, it's not a rehash. I was an old, like I said, OT fan, loved Boba Fett because he was the man of mystery. But yeah, for right now, at this time in my life, I'm appreciating the depth of storytelling that they have given those 3 characters, with Maul being a runner-up, to those top 3 because of what they did with his arc in Rebels and Clone Wars.
I got you. Well, I'm the same age or similar age to all of you guys on here, and yeah, OT is very easy to go into, but honestly, if I decide to get another tattoo, my next tattoo will be Captain Rex logo from his helmet, because I just think, well, heck, it's right there on my shirt, right there. Captain Rex, like you mentioned, that character, the growth from not really being a player in Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith to being that important after 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. You're right. It's hard to bypass what they've done with a character like that. So, Scruffy, how about you? Give me 3. Matter of fact, you gave me 4, so you should be able to knock that down to 3 pretty easy.
Easily. My first 2 answers are OT. However, that's not why I enjoy him. R2D2. He's the bro you want in life, man. That he can keep a secret. He knew everything from the beginning to the end, and he still kept the secret. That's the bro you want in life. Obi-Wan, not one of my favorite characters from the original trilogy, but like I said, the Ewan McGregor brought that character to life. The Clone Wars really showed us how awesome he was. And Ahsoka's my third choice. I didn't really care for Ahsoka at first, but I love the growth of that character, the changes over time, and then especially the character now that the former Jedi with still that resentment for the Jedi Order, carrying a little bit of that resentment for the Jedi Order.
You guys get some great lists.
And then we got one more follow-up because holiday special was just all that. Akmina, the bartender. We gotta love the Akmina, the bartender, man.
We rarely talk about the holiday special here. I mean, it just it doesn't help our ratings. I mean, it just
no, it does not. No, sir, it does not.
So I've got a question here. Alfie and I went into a deep discussion. I had to call him. Usually we text, but the other day I had to call him because it was just on my mind. And I'm not going to go into the full discussion about it because I just don't have time for us to be doing all that. But I'll go into a partial part of this discussion and get your thoughts as we get close to the end here. I look at the sequel trilogy and I think to myself, where are the ships that made us love, like we love the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy? Can you guys, I'm sure there's a great ship out there, and I know Kylo Ren had a cool ship and things like that, but can you guys help me? Was there a really cool ship in the sequel trilogy that you said, man, this ship really, you have the Naboo Starfighter, you have the Naboo Cruiser, you have the Jedi
Starfighter,
Jedi
the ARC 170.
You got all those in the prequels. You've got the X-Wing, the Y-Wing, the TIE fighters, all that kind of stuff in the original trilogy. The TIE bombers, TIE interceptors, all these cool things in those. Am I missing something? Did I miss it? Because I know Leia, her and her group showed up on Takodana in a toaster, and then
modified B-wing.
And then I was watching the other day The Last Jedi, and Finn and Rose flew off on some little box when they were going off to the Canto Bight. Was there a really cool ship that really said, okay, this is the sequel trilogy's really cool ship? Am I missing some? I'll go around the horn. Brent, can you think of one?
The only one that I'm thinking of right now is it comes from the opening of The Last Jedi, and they're the newest ones, which would be the Dreadnought, which is basically a Super Star Destroyer, or like half a Super Star Destroyer kind of a thing. The Dreadnought ship, and then the other one was the bombers, but no one likes the bombers because they were like
lame.
But those are the newest ones. Like, if you ask what's a new ship, that was a reinvention and brought something new. I'm not saying that they're great, but those are the two that come to my mind as far as ships.
Aaron, how about you?
Yeah, I'm racking my brain. That's a really good point. Really good question. And I think maybe those sand skiffs in Rise of Skywalker were probably the most exciting thing, probably.
Well, is that the one that shot the guy up when they fly now?
Yeah.
That was the tread machine.
Snowmobile.
Yeah.
Snowmobile for sand.
But yeah, all the vehicles were just rehab. I mean, it was X-Wings and Y-Wings, and I mean, just...
Yeah, think of it this way. We're all around the same age here. Think of all the ships we had when we were kids.
Right.
3 movies. What ships were available to buy? What ships were so great that they said, we have to make one of these for kids to be able to buy? And that was... Crest? Well, yeah, but that wasn't in the...
I know.
Well, I guess...
I know.
Technically.
But for the sequel films themselves, right.
I was being facetious when I threw that out there, but at the same time, for the TV show, they created an iconic, then they decided to destroy it, which I think was but
even that ship's only been released in the vintage collection. It's $250.
Right. They had the whatever HasLab, you had to be a backer of the HasLab to get it.
So they released the Falcon for The Force Awakens, and I think a First Order TIE fighter.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have one.
Yep.
Maybe an A-wing.
So the dog fighting tabletop game that I play, they have First Order and they have Resistance as factions that you can play with ships that they were released from. But essentially, those ships are TIE fighters. They may have like the reinvention of the Lambda class shuttle, which is what Kylo I think was flying. Was that more or less a reinvention of the Lambda class? And then the Resistance has like the X-wings, and they have the bombers, and then they have actually the one that Kaz flies in Resistance. You can fly, you can use Kaz as a pilot in the X-wing game. Yeah, so they brought in the Resistance, and they brought in that show, and they brought in those pilots into that game. You can also have like what's his name from Than Kyrell. You can also use Than Kyrell from
Lost Stars.
From Lost Stars as a pilot that has different skills and different abilities. And Sierra Wren, or whatever her name is.
Sienna Ray.
There you go. You can use her as a pilot as far as upgrades and stuff like that, and they both have different abilities. But those games brought in a bunch of stuff. But so they have ships, but essentially the First Order is just a reinvention of the Empire. I mean, that's Alfie, you said it I don't know how many times, but
well, their TIE fighters could shoot behind them, so it was totally new idea.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
The sequel trilogy just gave us updated versions of the classic ships that, it's a trope that we all instantly bought into. But, if you go back to look at the prequels, it was radically different in episode 1, and there was a progression, a logical evolution into what we knew. But we didn't see that going into the sequel, so they gave us the same ships, with some different colors and flashiness. But you're right, in the sequels, go back to the original trilogy, the Millennium Falcon is a character, and we didn't have that in the sequels other than the Millennium Falcon. So
okay,
I hate to say it, but I think I would have to say Resistance probably had the best ships of that
they did
time era.
They did. And those were like NASCAR ships,
Exactly.
Yeah, those racing ships.
Yep, that was probably the best of that era. I mean, they weren't in the films, but Fireball, and
I'm not trying to cut it short, guys. I just I've got to keep it on a little bit of a time limit here, so I appreciate you guys coming. I want to bounce around, and you know what? I'm glad I asked that question, because I don't feel as stupid, because I really asked Alfie, and I was like, I don't know any ships that stand out to me. And I thought you three guys who were pretty much the smartest guys I listened to on podcasts. You would know. But
you don't listen. You don't listen to very much.
Yeah.
What stood out the most in the sequels, as far as ship goes, is the graveyard on Jakku.
Yes,
definitely.
I always say, it's like the Hangover movie. When they get to the end of the movie and they find the camera, and you're like, oh, that's the movie I want to see. When she goes past all of the destroyed ships, you're like, oh, wait a minute, go back. Something really, really cool happened there. Could we?
I love it.
Please have a story about that.
I love it. That's a good one.
Yes.
I like that. Well, here, I'm going to go around the horn, get some closing thoughts. Brent, I'm going to start with you. Any closing thoughts on our show here, having our guests, the Hyperspace Heroes Podcast?
No, it's always good meeting fellow Star Wars fans. I was going to see if we talk ICC Con, because they've dropped it. I was going to try and plug it for our boy Michael Havens. They're already doing sales on tickets.
Yep.
They already upgraded too.
That's what I was going to say after that, is the sales of the tickets have gone so well that he decided to rent out even more acreage. The picture that he put out is like this. It's a city inside of itself is what he's rented out for it. So yeah, just maybe we run into you guys again next year at ICC Con, but I wanted to make sure we put that plug in, because I know, and I found out that people found out about it from listening to podcasts. So May
26th to the 28th. 2023.
All right, that's all I got for you.
You got it. DB Droid Bait round 4. Hit me with some closing thought here.
Oh, you've drained my thoughts. No, I we do a podcast on a weekly basis. We don't We don't do video at this point, which hopefully we haven't scared off any of our or your viewers at this point. But this isn't nearly as intimidating as being on that podcast stage at ICCC. What an incredible setup that was. And I'm so looking forward to going back and just watching other podcasts do their thing. I mean, this is great being on your show. It's a whole new world. It's a great community. And I'm so glad you asked us to come join you and actually listen to the ramblings of this old man. So.
Well, you've been great. You've been great. Scruffy, how about you?
Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for having us on, man. Yeah, the whole live thing, not as bad as I thought it would be. I was able to at least get this cleaned up behind me a little bit, so it looked a little more presentable today.
That's a great background. I love it. I think all of us are jealous of it right there. So, but yeah,
well,
thank you.
This is just probably less than 10% of the collection. If I had a zoom camera, I could go around the rest of the room, and if I had a portable camera, I could take it to the back corner where the rest of the collection sits in bins, waiting to be put out.
You sound like Alfie right there. Alfie, I'll go to you next. Closing thoughts.
It was great talking to you guys. Hopefully we meet again at ICC. And Joe, I'll just say it now. We go again. That Captain Rex helmet will be my next tattoo.
See?
Oh, that's right. They have the tattoo room.
Yeah.
It'll go right above Boba Fett.
Okay. I like it. Maybe we'll get matching ones. BFF.
Your wife would kill you. Your wife would kill you.
Brent. Bite your tongue. Aaron, how about you? Closing thoughts.
Yeah, so thanks for having us on. We really appreciate joining you guys. Like I said, we love talking to other podcasters, other Star Wars fans. Yeah, we have secured our passes. I even got confirmed for my press pass already. So I was excited for that email to come in. So we will definitely be down there for sure. Yeah, ICCC is a great event for sure, without a doubt. And we've appreciated talking to you guys. You know, let's do this again. We'll have you let's have you guys on our show. We'll do another, we'll do some more crossovers. Let's get together and talk Andor sometime during the series.
Let's do that. I think that's one we're all looking forward to. Yeah, all the different things I was bringing up and looking at here, we didn't even hop into it. Good point. Let's do that. Invite us over. We'll bring some of our guys. We'll come talk Andor with you for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys, for everybody who's listening. Again, remember, go check out the Hyperspace Heroes podcast. They have a lot of fun. And again, you're going to want to sit there and have a martini and a cigar and some hors d'oeuvres when you're listening to their show. You feel like you're just sitting there relaxing, got the good background music. Maybe Garza Flip might even be there. I don't even know, giving off that feel and that vibe. But for us at Rule the Galaxy, for our friends at Hyperspace Heroes, thank you so much for giving us a listen. You know what? It's always great to talk Star Wars and make new friends in the community. And I think, R2 podcasts, we look forward to it. Like we said, we're already planning next May in Nashville, Tennessee. So again, to everybody, thanks again. And until next time, may the Force be with you.